Hey everybody, this is Jennifer. I'm coming to you with another sales update video. The first item I have is a vintage Woolrich sweater. It's got a quarter zip, and if I see these all the time, and I do pick them up when I see them, as long as they are just like between $1 and $3. They usually sell between $15 and $20. It's not a really quick sell, but it's a very consistent sell, and they usually come in this color maroon and green, and here's the tag. All right, the next item is a women's JCrew sweater. It was really chunky, 100% wool, which was great, except it was an extra small. And it wasn't just an extra small, it was a very small extra small, so it was almost like a child's. I picked this up for $1 at the Salvation Army, and it sold for $22.99. And there's a label. Okay, this is a Lord & Taylor cashmere sweater vest. The two things it did have going for it was cashmere and the color. I do very well with this pretty lavender color. Even when it's not such a great brand, the color kind of sells it. I picked this up for 50 cents, and I took a best offer of $15. Okay, this is a men's Claiborne sweater. Claiborne, not so great. I normally would never pick up this brand. It was silk and linen, which interested me, and also the tag, because it was new at tags, and the tag said $150. So I was like, okay, it's got to be somewhat good. So I picked it up. It was only $1, and I was like, well, since it's priced so high, let me try it at $49.99. And then over the months, I lowered it and lowered it and lowered it. Eventually I had it on $29.99 with the best offer, and somebody offered me $20, and I took it. I was like, that's fine. I only paid $1. Shortly after they received it, though, they opened a return. So I was like, oh, I'm getting it back. Okay, so I waited for the return and waited for the return. And probably 2 to 3 weeks later, I received a feedback from the same person, this glowing positive feedback about how much they love the sweater and how well it fits. So I'm not sure what the disconnect was there, like why they opened a return, and then 2 weeks later they said they absolutely loved the sweater, but I was happy I was not getting it back. So it all worked out. All right, this is a men's Woolrich shirt. It's a really heavy cotton button down, almost has a flannel feel to it, and it was kind of cool because it had this forest scene on the front, bears that run across, and in the back is pine trees. I picked this up for $3 at the Goodwill, and I sold it on a best offer for $19. Let me see if I have the tag. Yeah, I do. All right, there's a tag. Okay, this is a pair of Clark's women's shoes. I pick up Clark's all the time. If I just see the name, I usually pick it up. However, since it's kind of a midline brand, like, you're not getting a ton of money, I do not pick up shoes where I'm making $10 to $20 if they need to be heavily polished, if they have scuffs, if they need time. I do not pick them up, even if they're going to sell, because if it's going to take me a half an hour or longer to fix the issues on the shoes, unless I'm getting around $80 or $100 for them, it's not worth the time. You're actually, it's eating up your profit that time. So what you see here is how I picked them up. I did nothing to these shoes. So they cost $5, and I sold them for $31.99. Right, this was really cool. This is a etching, an old, I think it was from the 20s. Let me see. I don't have it. I wasn't sure, but I'm pretty sure it's from the 20s. From Luigi Casimir. I don't know if I'm saying that correctly, but this was at an estate sale, and what was cool about this is it was not for sale. I was walking through the kitchen, and the kitchen had nothing in it. There was no items for sale. You could go from one room to the other through the kitchen, but there was nothing that was supposed to be there. And this was hanging on the wall in the back over the stove, and I just walked over and I was looking at it, and the woman who owned the house was there, and I said, it was cool, I liked it. And she immediately was like, oh, that's not for sale. I said, oh, that's okay. It's really nice. And then she goes, oh, okay, $12. Just like that. And I'm like, okay, great. So I picked it up for $12 and I held on to it for a year because stuff like this, I really like to use the right wording and, do my research. And I just did not get around to it. I kind of put it in the back and forgot about it. So eventually, I did the research, and luckily on the back there was a clipping which helped me out. It had some information in there as well. And just so you know, this was in horrible condition. Well, maybe not horrible, but not good. There was a pinhole in the etching itself. It was yellowed, it was discolored. The frame, although original, was a wreck. It was really worn with paint on it. And I stated all of that in the auction, and it still got $150. But do not think when I saw this that I knew what I was looking at. Like, I looked at this and went, wow, I should get over $100 for that. I didn't. All I knew was that it was original and it was old. And those two things together with a $12 price tag was a safe bet for me. And even if it wasn't, so what if I lost $12? I mean, it's not a huge deal. You know what I mean? At the end of the year, if you lose a couple $100 by making mistakes throughout the year, you're still fine. You know what I mean? If you can't absorb, you know what I mean? If you're in your first year and that's a big chunk of what you're making, that's just a learning experience. That's so you're going to be able to grow. Don't think of it too badly. Like if you only made $800 and you had $200 in mistakes, it's an education. Don't beat yourself up about it. But eventually you're going to be making thousands of dollars, and $100 or $200 in mistakes is not a bad thing. But you also have to weigh it against the ones that weren't mistakes. You know, where you make a really nice profit because you took that chance. So, to me, I would say always be willing, as long as the price is reasonable, to take a chance on those unique items, those old items. First of all, it's fun. It's kind of a little bit like gambling. It's really fun to pick something up and not know what it is, and it winds up that makes you $100. But two, it's a good experience and it teaches you a lot when you pick up items like that. So this was obviously a good experience. All right, the next is a Borgatti sweater, and I didn't get it for the name because I never heard of it before, but I got it because it was a Bill Cosby style sweater, and I'm sure you've heard of that before. Usually the Bill Cosby style is Coogee. People are looking for the Coogee brand. However, you see how I put Bill Cosby style in the title. Do not put Coogee style in the cover, in the title, or don't put similar to Coogee. Do not put Coogee anywhere in the title, even though it kind of looks like one, because eBay considers that false advertising and they'll take your auction down, and you don't want that to happen. But you can use Bill Cosby style, so definitely go for that. And don't go by the name, go by what it looks like. So if you're really young and you don't remember Cosby in the 80s, here you go. These are the sweaters, the styles that you're looking for. It doesn't really matter the name, but I think I saw this before. Yeah, Tundra is also a good one. It's not as good as Coogee, but I had that several months ago, Tundra sweater in this style, in the Bill Cosby style, and that sold for like $50. So I would say the Coogee sells 50 up, Tundra around 50, and excuse me. And the other, if it's just a style of and a different brand, you're looking at $30 to $40. So definitely look for this type of sweater. Okay. All right, this is the Simply Vera Wang stretch denim jeans. Absolutely nothing special. They were $1. And I just figured I'd give it a try. Not too great. We had a best offer on it, and someone wanted it for $12. They wanted 99 cents off. So I gave it to them for $12. That was fun. All right, this is a Calvin Klein women's performance jacket. It was just like a very light fleece jacket with a big collar, had gold zippers on it. Nothing special. It was 99 cents. And it sold for $15. Okay, this was interesting. This is a Celine Sport. It originally was an outfit. There was pants that came along with it, but the shirt, when I got home, I saw it was a different size than the pants, so I separated it. Now this is a washable silk, so it's like a really rough kind of, it's still like soft and, but it's a rougher than regular. It's not that smooth feel. But the washable part is great, so I put that in the title. Excuse me. I paid 99 cents for it, and it sold for $12.99. Now, the thing with this is, luckily this woman left me a positive feedback, but she left a negative comment, and this was the funniest negative comment. She was very upset because it wasn't perfectly folded when she received it. I fold everything. And I fold it and I put it into a clear poly bag, and I put that clear poly bag into another poly bag so it's double protected. But when you have a material such as silk and certain other materials that are really hard to fold, and you know the type, and no matter what you do, if you move it a little bit, the thing becomes just a ball. That's the material this was. So when it shipped across the country in a poly bag, she expected to open it up and have it perfectly folded in front of her. I didn't even know what to say to that. And then she's like, it's wrinkled and it's silk, but it's wrinkled. First of all, it's washable. Second of all, it's used. Were you really just going to throw it on and wear it? It's a used, maybe that's me, but I would definitely wash anything I picked up used, whether it's from a thrift store, whether it's from eBay. You don't want to just be throwing that on and, taking off for the day. Just my opinion, though. I mean, obviously people think differently. But that was the funniest negative comment I had, that it wasn't perfectly folded when she opened the poly bag. It wasn't even a box. It's a poly bag. But that's okay. At least it was a positive feedback. Anyway, the next item is a Wilson leather jacket. This is when I was first starting getting into clothes, and I wouldn't pick this up again. It was $1. And it was basically had a lot of wear. There was discoloration on the sleeve and on the front. I really didn't know what I was doing. I had it for like 2 years. I picked it up for 99 cents. It eventually sold for $20. And I was afraid they were going to return it, but I guess I described it well enough. So they did keep it, so I was pretty happy. This is an Abercrombie & Fitch crew neck sweater, chunky wool sweater. It was a size small, which wasn't great. And it did have flaws, which I did see, but I wanted to try it anyway because it was only $1. So I just put it out for $9.99 without an offer, and they paid shipping. So I got $16.79 on $1. So it still was a good sale. Now, if it did not have these flaws, if it was a little bit larger size, you're looking at $25, $30, $35. So you want to look for these sweaters. They're really nice. Okay, this is a women's Chaps Ralph Lauren tunic top. It's 100% linen. Always look for linen. Right now, linen sells very well, so I would definitely look for that. It's got an embroidered neckline, but unfortunately, when it's a dark color like black or navy, it's hard to photograph. You don't see the details if the details are the same color as the shirt. So just keep that in mind. They're not able to see what you're seeing when they're purchasing this online. I paid $1 for it, and it sold for $19.99. All right, this is just a basic pair of Ralph Lauren pants. For me, Ralph Lauren pants don't sell that well. I picked this up for $1 at the Salvation Army, and it sold for $15. And it was just a pair of capris with the gold button and zippers. Okay, this is Express Rerock jeans, boot cut. I picked this up for $1 at the Salvation Army. I like Express. I do well with Express. If you watch my videos, you'll see Express pop up all the time. Normally, I'm selling dress pants. The editor pants are really good. You're not making a ton of money, but if you can pick them up like $1 to $3, they will pretty consistently sell between $15 and $20. So it's just a good bread and butter item. You know what I mean? It's just a consistent sell. These were very good, though. These were even better. They sold for $25.49. All right, this is the second time I'm selling this. This was a return. Now, people get, especially when something's like $50 and someone returns, you're like, oh no, they're returning it, especially when it's heavy. If you have free shipping, I'm getting away from free shipping. This is one of the reasons I'm kind of getting away from it. Not all of the reasons, but one of them. If someone does a return, if you have free shipping and they're like, oh, it doesn't fit, or I thought this, or I just really don't like it, you did nothing wrong. You shouldn't have to be out that shipping cost. But if you have free shipping, you will be, because you have to return that entire payment to them. So that if something is expensive to ship, if it's hitting that priority mark, I then have the buyer paying shipping. Because this, I took a best offer the first time of $50, and it cost, I would say, between $7 and $10 to ship it to them. And then they returned it. They paid for return shipping, but I had to eat that. Not a huge deal, not a huge deal, but I just don't want to do that anymore. You know what I mean? It's not going to break me in the end, but it's just, I think it's very fair that you do not have to pay for that original thing if they're not reading the auction, or if they didn't read the measurements, or if they changed their mind. So that was returned to me. Now let's say the shipping originally was $10. So basically the item cost me $1. I sold it and I had to eat that shipping cost. So when it came back to me, now the cost of that item is $11, not $1, because I had to eat that other charge of 10. But I resold it for $50 again. So I still made about $30, $25, $30 on this item, even after shipping it out once. So it's really not worth getting that upset about. Do you know what I'm saying? So, if you're getting returns, I mean, look at the big picture. It's hard to, when you get that one item, especially if it's like $100 item. But think about this, like normally you can sell it again. It's just a loss of $10 or $20. And at the end of the year, that's tax deductible on top of it. So, don't get upset about returns. Like I said, this sold again in like a week's time, made $25 in my mind. So, you know what I mean? That's fine. It's not a big deal. And if you're selling clothes, you're going to have returns. There's nothing you can do about that. People are like, what can I do? I'm getting all these returns. There's nothing you can do about it. It's going to happen, especially with clothes, because it's an issue of, does it fit correctly? You shouldn't have to pay if it doesn't fit somebody correctly, but you have to expect that they're going to want to return it. Just take a lot of pictures, as many pictures as you can inside of the jacket. If it has any flaws, do close up of all the flaws that are on the jacket or any item that you're selling, and write, if you can, put it in the title if there's something wrong with it, put it in the item condition, and put it down here in the description as well. Have it everywhere. That's how you reduce your returns, and that's the only way you can do it. You know what I mean? Don't make it hard for people to return things, because I don't think that's gonna, be good for you in the end. Most likely you'll get a negative feedback, or you'll be fighting with people and wasting your time fighting with people. Just accept the returns and do everything you can on a positive note, like making your auctions really, really filled with information so they really know what they're getting. And I know people don't read all the time, but that's all you can do to help reduce that. And then just accept it and don't worry about it after that. All right, the next item. Oops. Okay, there we go. All right, it's a Charlie Lovin CD. And I paid $1 for this at the Goodwill, and I sold it for 10. And this is a women's Coldwater Creek. It's just a basic cotton cardigan button that was new at tags. Coldwater Creek is always good, like between $15 and $25 for like the basics. And you can go up from there. Like sometimes blazers and that can get around $40. But I really like Coldwater Creek. I usually sell it very well. I paid $1 for this, and it sold for $21.24. Okay, this is a pair of women's tribal dress pants. Are they new? Yep, new with tags. And I paid $1 for it, and they sold for $22.99. And this is a pair of girls' grade school Jordan Flight basketball, and look at my mistake, shoes. I did not put sneakers in the title. So no matter how hard you try, I'm looking around for all these keywords and putting in numbers, and I didn't put sneakers in the title. I mean, how about that? So it sold anyway, which was great. It might have sold quicker if I had sneakers in the title, but I paid $2 for this, and it sold, even though they're kids, it sold for $28. So that was good. If you see these, yeah, I'd pay like $5 for them. The last item, this was awesome. This was at the Goodwill, and it was $4. And not that I didn't know anything about scales. I didn't know, wow, this was great, but it just kind of had a real cool modern look to it, vintage modern look to it. And I looked it up right there because I wanted to see. And yeah, I saw they were going for around $50. So I picked it up and I sold it for 50. Now remember, that's including shipping. So it's still a good sale, but this is a heavy item, you know. So that took a decent chunk out of that. But I think I made about $20 or so on it. So it was still, and it was fun to sell. I like different items like this. All right, that's all I have for today. I'm sorry the video is so long, but I'm so far behind. I hope you enjoyed it and found some new items in here to look for. And I will see you next time.